Good evening. Let's go over the insert statement for SQL Server R2 2008 and talk about the locking mechanism behind the insert statement. Now, the insert statement is conventional and follows standards for SQL Server. It's the same for Oracle, things like that. Insert into table, values, open parentheses, values close, and there's other extensions for SQL Server R2. You can just define multiple columns, you can insert multiple rows, you can have table hints and things like that. If we scroll down to the locking behavior of an insert statement, it says that the insert statement always acquires an exclusive lock on the table. It modifies and holds that lock until the transaction completes. With an exclusive lock, no other transaction can modify the data, and the read operations take place only with a no lock hint. So this exclusive lock is one of the most pessimistic and I would say aggressive locks. What we're going to do is exemplify the behavior of this lock. So here we have a few query statements, a begin transaction, an insert, and a commit. We're going to begin this transaction. We're going to execute the insert statement into the financial.drcr. Financial is our schema, drcr is our table name. We're going to leave this transaction uncommitted, and so this row is going to be a dirty read. Let's go and let's look at our locks using the system view, which is the what the DR stands for is a data manipulation, the data maintenance, data management transaction locks view. And we will see that, and I already know that 56 is the session for the query that's running that insert statement. There's a few locks that are already on our database. Let's commit this again. Hold on, just make sure that everything's cleared out, and let's do it one more time. Okay. Great. Now what we'll see is that there's one shared, there's two intent to be exclusive, and this is what the engine, these are locks that an engine will put on a resource before it puts the exclusive. It puts an intent to be exclusive before the exclusive. And this is the exclusive lock right here. This is the one that means business. And this is the lock on the row. Our database is number 14. The file is 153 is the page, 135 is the row ID. If we attempt to run a select statement with no changing of the isolation level or using table hints, what will happen is that the query will not run. Now this is a small database, a small table, so the reason that this is stalling is only because that there is a lock that's put on the resources trying to read. And if we go and check this out, session number 59 is our read statement. What we'll see that it's a select statement, and it's suspended because it's being blocked by session 56. Session 56. File number 1 is our database. Page ID is the page that we saw from the lock view. Database 14. So the only way we can get rid of this block is if we commit this transaction, and make this no longer a dirty read and commit it. So now that we've committed it, we'll see that the read read query, the select query, is successful, and we'll also see that there's no more exclusive queries onto this exclusive locks on these tables and these databases. Okay, so let's run this once, twice, 3 times. Now doing that, actually it started 3 transactions, and the transactions are still left open and uncommitted. And we should see here that there should be multiple exclusive locks on different dependencies, and that's true. Here we have our, is there a shared? Yes, here's the shared. We have a few intent to be exclusive and 3 exclusives. 3 on the dependency is row ID. Same file, same page, different rows. 136, 137, 138. If we attempt to run this select statement again, you know what's going to happen, right? It's not going to run. So we'll be able to alter the isolation level on the transaction or on this statement using table hints. There's 20 to 25 table hints. Not all of them can be used in certain statements. They're pretty strict about what you can use for an insert and update. But for the select, you can use as much as you can use most of them, although not all of them work. But the 2 we're going to use here is the read uncommitted. What this is saying is that ignore any locks that have created any dirty reads on the table and give me the information. I understand that it may not be consistent. And it gives me it. And if we look down below, this is cool. Here's 136, 138, and 139. These are dirty reads. These are dirty reads. And if you're talking about a journal ledger, if we're talking about a transactional database, this can cause some issues. You don't exactly know if these will be committed, if these will be completed. They may be rolled back. Now, another way that we can execute this select statement, which uses the shared locks and ignore any of the exclusive locks that are on the resource, is we can say no lock, saying don't put a shared lock and ignore all locks. And it is equal to the read uncommitted isolation level or table hint. The other thing that we can do is the no wait. The no wait says respect the locks, but if there is a lock, don't block, just return me back. And we get a lock request timeout period. It actually returns the values, but it doesn't return the dirty reads. Wow, it doesn't return the dirty reads. Let's really confirm that. Right, with the no lock, which is a read uncommitted, we get 36, 37, 38, and 39. But with the no wait, it gives us back results. And it gives us a message that's saying there's an error and it wasn't okay, but it doesn't give us back the dirty reads. I wouldn't exactly suggest that any developers, especially front-end developers, use these table hints because they've been put in place for a reason. The most important thing to take from this is that if you're going to be doing insert statements into a database, get your insert statements done very quickly and respect the exclusive lock on these resources. You may also notice just a really short inconsistency because here in the insert statement says that the exclusive lock is put onto the table, but when we look at the locks, it actually is on the row ID. And I can't explain this yet. And the resources I've seen on the internet and the people I've spoken to haven't been able to identify why this inconsistency exists, and I'll get back to that. So, locking insert statements for SQL Server R2. The locking protects data, defines transaction isolation, and provides concurrencies to transactions and processes. The main concept is a type of lock, the lock mode, the lock isolation level, which means that how each lock will affect and interact with other locks, and the lock dependency or the resource that is being locked. Thank you. Night.